dignitaries at his country home in Daura, Katsina State. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Osodeke lamented that the government had failed to honor the agreement reached in May 2021. Amidst the rising building collapse in the country, a building located at Onipanu area of Lagos has reportedly collapsed. The affected building is said to be at Oke Arin Street off Shilion Ilupeju. The Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Oluwafemi Oke Osanyitolu, confirmed the development. The abandoned two-story building reportedly collapsed to the ground zero in the early hours of today. It was learned that the incident occurred during the aging of the structure, which had fast depreciated. However, the incident did not record any loss of life, save for an adult male who sustained minor injuries and has been taken to the hospital for medical attention. When we return, news from other parts of West Africa. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us and welcome back. And now to news from other parts of West Africa. Ivory Coast officials have called on Mali to immediately release 49 of its soldiers who were arrested on Sunday at the international airport in Bamako, refuting accusations they were mercenaries. The Ivory Coast government said the soldiers were registered in the workforce of the Ivorian army and were in Mali as part of a UN peacekeeping mission. Earlier, Malian spokesperson Abdoulaye Maiga accused them of being illegally in the national territory of Mali in possession of weapons and munitions of war without a mission order or authorization. He added that the intention of those arrested was clearly to break the security of Mali. According to reports, the soldiers were working for a private company contracted by the United Nations, according to the statements from both governments. Meanwhile, United Nations Deputy Spokesman Farhan Haq said the contingent was not a formal part of their peacekeeping mission in Mali, but were deployed by troops contributing countries in support of their contingent, and that is a common practice in peacekeeping missions. And now to Ghana, where Senior Staff Association of the Universities of Ghana, SSAUOG, has expressed its intention to embark on an indefinite strike effective today, July 13. Speaking to the media today, a trustee of the association, James Maluna Boneng, said the association announces its strike in a press conference that was held today. The press conference took place at the main gate of the University of Ghana in Legon. Meanwhile, currently the Teachers and Education Workers Union, TEWU, including other education unions, have also embarked on the strike. Regarding this development, representatives of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, that is GNAT, and the National Graduate Association of Teachers, NAGRAT, walked out of the negotiation with the government over their demand for COLA. The two associations accused government of betrayal of trust for asking them to call off their strike before negotiations. According to the Deputy Minister of Employment and Labor Relations, Bright Wereku Brobe, the adjournment was due to the refusal of some labor unions to call off their strike before negotiations commenced. This is the second time negotiations between the teacher unions and the government has ended inconclusively. The teachers have been on strike since last week, Tuesday. We now move to other parts of Africa after this break. Don't go away. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to other parts of Africa. Civil parties involved in the case of the jailed former senior Rwandan official Laurent Bosibirita have welcomed the ruling by a Paris court after handing him 20 years for complicity in the African nation's genocide. Reports show that the parties have said this was a relief for the victims of atrocities during the 1994 massacres, in which an estimated 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus died in 100 days of mass killings. The trial involved more than 100 witness statements, including some from survivors from Rwanda, either in person or by video conference. Bosibirita, who has been in France since 1997, has a myriad of health problems and was allowed to remain under house arrest during the trial to receive treatment. And now to South Sudan, where authorities in the country say more than 230 people have been killed over the last 2 weeks in ethnic clashes in the south of the country. The fighting over cattle and grazing fields occurred in eastern equatorial states from early this month. The killings happened in Koipeta North County, where rival communities clashed following cattle raids in one of the villages. Those killed included a local chief who was shot as mourners gathered to bury those who died in the violence. The governor of the state has condemned the killings and asked the government to urgently send security forces to the area to help restore calm. His plea came as South Sudan marked 11 years of independence. The United Nations has warned that the country risks a return to civil war because of continuing intercommunal fighting that has displaced millions of people. Away from South Sudan now to the United Nations, who have confirmed that 20 people have been killed while dozens or more have been abducted in multiple attacks in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The death includes children and at least 4 patients who were burnt alive at a church clinic in North Kivu province. The attack is blamed on fighters from the Islamic State-affiliated group Allied Democratic Forces, that is the ADF. It is known as the deadliest armed group operating in the country and has been designated as a terrorist outfit by the United States. As witnesses explained, the intense fighting still ongoing in the volatile North Kivu province, where the Congolese army and UN peacekeepers are engaging fighters from the group. According to the UN mission in DR Congo, hundreds of houses in nearby villages have also been razed down, while dozens of people, including at least 30 people, are reportedly missing and are believed to have been abducted by the group. The East African community leaders last month agreed to send a regional force to help the Congolese government counter the violence in the East. Up next is business news on Africa Today. Welcome back, and now to business news. The Nigeria Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers has said it will not hesitate to join in the proposed nationwide strike following the prolonged ASU, NASU and SSANU industrial actions that have left activities in tertiary institutions paralyzed for the past 8 months. According to a statement signed by the National President, Williams Akporeha, and Secretary General Afolabi Olawale of the Union joined others to condemn the attitude of the federal government towards finding a lasting solution to the crisis. The union described the strike as unfortunate and as a sad commentary on the level of governance and sensitivity of the political leaders, adding that it showed the insensitivity of the current administration towards promoting and protecting good and quality education. International benchmark for crude fell below $100 per barrel on Tuesday as the latest figures released by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, that is OPEC, showed an increase in Nigeria's oil production from 1.024 million barrels per day to 1.158 million barrels per day. Industry data indicated that Brent dropped in price by $7.72 or 7.21% to close at $99.38 per barrel as at 7:45 p.m. Nigerian time on Tuesday. According to reports, these figures was announced at the OPEC monthly oil market report for July 22, 2022, showed that Nigeria's oil production increased by 134 million barrels per day in June 2022. This is according to crude oil production data obtained by OPEC from Direct Communication. The report stated that Nigeria's oil production in May 2022 was 1.024 million barrels per day, but this moved up to 1.158 million barrels per day in June. It also further stated that crude oil spot prices rose in June, extending the previous month increase. Away from that now to Uganda, where police in Uganda have arrested 25 people following Monday's protest about the high prices of food and fuel. Many of those who took part in the demonstrations in the eastern district of Jinja, about 80 kilometers from the capital, Kampala, were motorcycle taxi riders, commonly referred to as Badobados. The protesters demanded that the government intervene to subsidize the price of essential commodities. Up next on Africa Today is sports news. Don't go away.
A very good afternoon to you and welcome to Sport News on Africa Today. I am Richard Badung. On the news, Falcons ahead of Thursday's quarter-final clash against Cameroon in the ongoing 2022 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The Super Falcons of Nigeria have arrived in Casablanca, Morocco. The Falcons media team confirming the report of the team on social media. The 9-time champions played all their 3 group games at the Stade Moulay Hassan in Rabat, where they finished second in Group C behind South Africa, who topped the group with maximum 9 points. The reigning champions, however, have their venue changed from Rabat to Casablanca after finishing as runners-up in Group C and battle arch rivals at the Indomitable Lionesses at the Stade Mohammed V, where the Cameroonians played all their 3 games, picking a win and 2 draws to finish second in Group B behind Zambia. The Central Africans will wary of the Falcons' attack that has scored the highest number of goals, that is 7 so far in the tournament. Away from the WAFCON to the UFC, where we see UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman recently stated he stands on a potential fight against middleweight champion Israel Adesanya, asserting that he had no interest in competing against his fellow Nigerian. Usman was recently seen facing off with former UFC light heavyweight champion Jean Blachowicz backstage at UFC 276. He previously revealed plans to skip the middleweight division and make the move directly to light heavyweight to compete for the 205 LBS strap. While in conversation with newsmen, the Nigerian Nightmare confirmed these claims. Usman advanced some acknowledgement about the uncomfortable decision that he felt with colleagues, saying it was a refreshing feeling not to be worried about the possibility of entertaining a challenge from Adesanya. We'll move away from that story now to other sports story, where we turn to see Africa's fastest Ferdinand Omanyala is on a mission to show Kenyan runners he can shine in sprints. The 26-year-old heads to the World Athletics Championship, aiming to put sprinting on the map in a country where the long-distance runner is king. According to reports, Omanyala will arrive in Eugene, Oregon, where the 100-meter heat starts on the opening morning on July 15 as the third quickest man in the world this season, behind the Americans Fred Kelly and Trevor Brummel. Making the podium would be an historic first for an African. Apologize for that technical error there. Meanwhile,
my main aim was to make people know Kenyans can sprint, and that's something that has really changed, and it's a notion that has now changed in everybody's mind. Any moment you mention Kenya, there's someone who will say there's a sprinter there. So that's something that I wanted to achieve when I'm getting into this sport and progressing. Even the federation at some point did not believe that there could be a sprint in Kenya, but you have to beat all these odds to come out and proud to be a sprinter. So I believe I've opened a way for so many people coming behind me, and that's what one of the things that I wanted to do, to leave a legacy.
Meanwhile, Namibia's Frankie Fredericks twice won Olympic silver in the 100-meter in the 1990s, but his 1 gold and 3 silvers in the World Championships were all over 200-meter. Away from that now, to tell you that Egypt has appointed a new football coach for the team that is a Portuguese by name Vitória. More to come in subsequent bulletin. And that's your sport news on Africa Today. Back to Luben for the rest of the news.
Thank you so much for the sports input. Welcome back. And that's Africa Today. But before we go, here are the headlines once again. We told you on the headlines that ASU rejects Buhari's end to call strike off. Ivory Coast seeks immediate release of soldiers. Other parts of Africa, we told you hundreds killed in South Sudan cattle wars. On sport, we told you Omanyala targets new record at Oregon. Remember to visit us on Facebook at Hughes TV, Instagram at Hughes TV, watch our YouTube channel at Hughes TV. I am Ainan Luben. Thank you for watching.